Welcome to PAATH History YouTube channel. Subscribe our channel for regular notification and follow our official Facebook page. Today we are going to discuss about religious beliefs and deities of Harappan culture. It is not easy to reconstruct the Harappan religion. In the first place, we cannot make a simple starting assumption that what we today understand as Hinduism was to be found in the Bronze Age. Hinduism took centuries to evolve. It would thus be anachronistic to label Harappan double graves as Sati burials or to search for caste segregation at Mohenjo-daro. The elephant may have had religious significance in Harappan times, but that does not mean that there was worship of Ganesha. Ganesha, as Shirin Radnagar understands, emerged as deity around the 4th century AD. Again, the famous seal from Mohenjo-daro showing a horned personage seated on a stool in what we would today call Baddhakonasana, the arms covered with bangles and flanked by small figures of the rhinoceros and buffalo on one side and the elephant and tiger on the other, cannot automatically be labeled the prototype of Shiva as Pashupati. According to Radnagar, the main figure on this seal may instead represent a holy person communicating with animals, and in one line of thought it is a female and not a male personage. Modes of disposal of the dead may give us a few clues about ideas of death and the afterlife. There are 3 types of burials: symbolic burials, primary burials, and fragmented burials. The only actual evidence on hand is burials in graves or pottery jars in cemeteries, some incidences of post-cremation burial, and a few occasional symbolic burials either in large pots or in graves where corporeal remains are absent. It is not surprising that some of the population choose to cremate their dead, but we have no evidence about the frequency of this practice or the exposure of dead bodies to birds and animals. There may also have been immersion in rivers. The dead were buried in graves, usually with the head to the north and accompanied by an average of 15 pots and sometimes joints of meat, animal or chicken bones are occasional finds in graves, which indicate the provision of food and drink for the netherworld. The pottery include lavishly painted dishes on stand, S-profile jars and squat, bulging jars, and also unpainted jars, lotas, bakers, and shallow dishes. There are also ornaments, but never in profusion with dead person. Tools are few, comprising stone flakes, kajal sticks, bronze mirrors, and shell ladles. But there are no figurines or bead-making tools, no etched cornelian beads or weights with the dead. Surprisingly, seals, which we would think were marks of individual identity, do not occur with the dead. Either the dead were not expected to continue with their worldly duties, or the graves so far excavated were not those of the seal-owning Harappan elite. Very few religious concepts, associations, or beliefs seems to have been captured in pictorial depiction on the seals, copper tablets, figurines, and painted pots left behind in the ruins of settlements. Amongst these, we can look for the portrayal of deity-like entities, for example, figures wearing animal horns, or a particular iconography of human body and animal head, tail and hoofs, or a combination of animal and human torsos. As regards ritual itself, we can search for its architectural associations. Some aspects of Harappan religious practice would have been highly ceremonial and public, as at Great Bath, but there would also have been domestic worship, as also local cults, village rituals enacted under trees, and so on. Shirin Radnagar says that it is also necessary to consider the existence of shamanism in Harappan religion. On a few shells, personages are shown in the branches of trees. Perhaps they were tree deities. On a few shells, trees are shown standing in tubs or surrounded by enclosures. Modern scholarship refers to such religious practice as folk cults. A somewhat neglected sphere of religion is the world of animals. The overwhelming majority of Harappan seals carried a single animal as the emblem. The most frequently portrayed animal on the inscribed steatite stamp seals is a hybrid with one long horn that curves upward and forward. It is also the interests that other than the humped bull and the short-horned bull without hump. The animals depicted on seals are wild animals: unicorn, elephant, ghorial, rhinoceros, antelope, and tiger. It appears that wild and powerful creatures had a role to play in the symbolism of the seals rather than the domesticated sheep, goats, cats, and dogs of the homestead that were part of the day-to-day life, understood intimately and a source of nature, and in their turn dependent on people for their well-being. In Harappa, shamanism is animism, belief in the souls of animals, birds, plants, and snakes. Shamanism is a form of religious practice that exists among pre-literate or prehistoric groups, including tribesmen and hunter-gatherers, as well as in the Shang-dominated society of Bronze Age China. Today, it is especially prevalent in Central and Northern Asia and in the Americas. It revels in system of belief devoid of either a book or a priestly hierarchy. The bath on the Mohenjo-daro citadel is unique in Harappan world. The nature and significance of bathing or ablution activity in the tank so constructed is open to conjecture, but it would certainly not have been for sport or mere pleasure. Architectural provisions for public ritual were also detected in the southern divide of the citadel of Kalibangan. Some scholars emphasize the mother goddess as the central feature of Harappan religion, but Shirin Radnagar points out that in the first place, not every depiction of a woman needs to be religious significance. First, there is no intrinsic evidence for labeling red-washed terracottas as a goddess, let alone a mother. Second, figurines portraying women are not as common or numerous as has been made out even at Mohenjo-daro, where most of these were found. Third, this kind of schematic representation of a woman is not found at all Harappan sites. Fourth, while these figurines could possibly reflect a popular practice in that the work is what would be called primitive. So these are the fundamental features of Harappan religious belief. This is the end of today's discussion. Subscribe our YouTube channel for regular notification and follow our official Facebook page. For any query, feel free to write us. For details, see the description.